The 1970s. For football fans, it was a different world. A world where following your team wasn't about comfort and safety, it was a test of nerve. Away days were missions into hostile territory where the objective was simple: survive. The terraces were battlegrounds, the streets were ambush points, and the most feared grounds were given a chilling metric: a percentage chance of getting out unscathed. This is the story they don't tell in the history books. This is the countdown of the 10 most dangerous stadiums in 70s Britain. Understand the rules, because by the end, you'll know which fortresses were considered a 25% chance of survival and which were even deadlier.
Welcome to a time when football was raw, tribal, and fraught with peril. Before all-seater stadia and comprehensive security, the culture of the firm reigned supreme. These were organized groups of hardcore hooligans who saw the football ground as their fortress. In this video, we will walk in the footsteps of the away fans who dared to enter these lions' dens. We will delve into the specific dangers of each location, from the long, ambush-prone walks to the infiltrated away sections inside the grounds themselves. Our countdown is based on one chilling criterion from the era itself: the estimated chance of an away fan surviving a visit without being attacked. Let's begin our journey into the heart of the chaos.
We start our countdown at number 10, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Molyneux. A 25% chance of surviving unscathed. While the big firms from West Ham and Manchester United had relatively easy times there, for others it was a nightmare. The key to Molyneux's danger was the South Bank. By 1972, all the Wolves' firms were firmly entrenched there, and it became an impenetrable stronghold. It's said that no firm ever took the Wolves section of the South Bank. This huge end was unfenced until 1978, a vast open territory where home fans held absolute sway. The peril wasn't confined to the stands. Smaller firms who came a cropper, like Leeds on Boxing Day 1977, found themselves surrounded. On that day, the thin blue line of police eventually gave way, forcing the away fans to leave the ground for their own safety. But the ordeal wasn't over. The journey back to the trains and coaches led through the notorious subways, where the pre-subway army firms would be lying in wait. At Molyneux, the match was only one part of the battle.
At number 9, we travel to the northeast, to Sunderland's Roker Park, another ground with a 25% survival rate. The northeast was never an easy trip, and in the 70s it was even worse. The home end, the full well, was a fortress. Only Spurs and West Ham ever tried to take it in the 70s, and all failed. But the danger was omnipresent. Away fans would be attacked to and from the ground, and also in the away section at the Roker end. For those who never visited, the stories were enough. The place had a fearsome reputation even before the Seaburn casuals emerged in the 80s. It was a holistic assault. From the moment you arrived until the moment you fled, you were a target in a hostile city, making Roker Park a truly harrowing away day.
Number 8, Tottenham Hotspur's White Hart Lane. 25% chance. For the London firms of West Ham, Chelsea, and Millwall, it was less daunting. But for the rest of the country, it could be a very troublesome place to visit. The primary danger wasn't necessarily inside the ground, but on the approach. That long walk down the Seven Sisters Road was a gauntlet of fear. Away fans would be ambushed at every junction by hundreds of fans. These weren't random skirmishes, they were coordinated attacks. The memory of that walk, the sudden appearance of mobs from side streets, and the relentless pressure would live long in the memory. It was a psychological and physical battering before you'd even seen the pitch.
At number 7, we cross the border to Cardiff's Upton Park, a tough place to visit with a 20% chance of survival. Often in the lower divisions, Cardiff didn't always have high-profile matches to test them, but when they did, there was carnage. Leeds in 1972 and especially Manchester United in 1974 spring to mind. Attacks on away fans inside the ground were common, a regular and sustained feature of a visit. But the worst carnage was reserved for the long walk back to the station. It was there that the full fury would be unleashed. It's said that Chelsea did take the home end, but that wasn't until 1984, a full decade after the period we're discussing. In the 70s, Upton Park was a cauldron of violence where many a big firm came undone.
Number 6. Leeds United's Elland Road. A 20% chance and a truly horrible place to visit in the 70s. The danger was multi-layered. Inside the ground, the away section would be routinely infiltrated by Leeds firms. But even if you survived that, the worst was yet to come. After the match, you would be subjected to an escorted journey back to the trains and coaches. But this escort was less of a protection and more of a guided tour past your executioners. Thousands of the Leeds service crew would be waiting for you along the route. It's believed that no one has ever taken the Leeds home end. It was a well-oiled machine for intimidating and attacking away supporters.
Number 5. Birmingham City's St Andrews. 20% chance. While the average attendance wasn't near the biggest teams, that didn't tell the whole story. There would always be a few thousand Zulus waiting for you. Their tactics were versatile. They could be at New Street Station, at the ground itself, or on the long walk to and from the coaches and trains. Inside the ground, the situation was just as volatile. There was no segregation until the late 70s, so attacks in the home ends were regular and sustained. You were behind enemy lines from the moment you entered the stadium. The Zulus were a pervasive and ever-present threat, turning a trip to Birmingham into a relentless battle for safety.
Number 4. Manchester City's Main Road. 15% chance. Located in one of Manchester's roughest areas, Moss Side, Main Road was a big surprise to most fans. They were usually unaware of what waited for them after the match. The match itself wasn't the main event, it was the ambush that followed. Fans would be jumped by local Moss Side gangs in the narrow streets and alleyways that offered little protection or escape. Even the local police were of little help. Many away fans came a cropper here. Unusually for the time, they even had a mixed race firm called the Cool Cats that you didn't want to cross. Main Road was a lesson in how the surrounding environment could be just as dangerous as the football ground itself.
Number 3. Newcastle United's St James Park. 15% chance. Very few away fans visited Newcastle in the 70s. The distance was a factor, but so was the fearsome reputation of the Geordies, who weren't the lovable, friendly lot we know today. You were targeted on the long journey to and from the stations, and once at the ground, you would also get a visit from their hardcore in the away section. The violence could be extreme. They have even been known to throw petrol bombs at away fans, a tactic cited against West Ham in 1980. This wasn't just fists and boots, it was a level of aggression that pushed the boundaries of football violence, securing St James Park a spot high on our list.
Number 2 might be a surprise to many. Middlesbrough's Ayresome Park. a 15% chance of survival. This bleak northern city was a major pitfall for away fans. The firm, known as the Front Line, had a specific tactic. They would wait for you at some point along the long walk from the train station, usually in a park, and ambush you there. But their strategy didn't end outdoors. They would often invade the away section of the ground itself, especially near the end of the match when the gates were mysteriously opened by supposedly unsuspecting gatemen. However, there is a legend of one firm that got a result. West Ham are the only firm known to have legged the Front Line after they themselves were ambushed in that very park in 1975. It was a rare victory in a place designed for home triumphs.
And number 1, Chelsea's Stamford Bridge. 15% chance. Now this is a funny one, because legend has it that the Shed, Chelsea's home end, was often taken in the 70s by West Ham, Arsenal, and even Millwall. But for anyone else, the North Stand away section was a nightmare. Attacks from Chelsea's North Stand mob were common, almost expected. If you survived that, you now had to survive the escorted route back to the coaches and trains. But Chelsea's Headhunters had a particularly nasty trick. They would wait until you were on the tube, feeling safe, and then attack you at an unexpected venue. Just ask Everton fans, who were ambushed at the Bank in 1978. It was a nightmare of layered threats, both at the ground and deep in the city's transport system, making it a uniquely dangerous and psychologically taxing experience, and our number 1 most dangerous stadium of the 1970s. These grounds, and the culture that surrounded them, are now part of football's dark, enduring folklore. The era of the fenced-in terrace is gone, and the game has been transformed. This video serves as a document of a unique, harsh, and often misunderstood chapter in British social history. It was an era of tribal loyalty, terrifying bravado, and landscapes that are now completely foreign to the modern fan. The culture we've documented today had tragic consequences beyond these terraces. In the aftermath of the Hillsborough disaster, the very hooliganism we've discussed was falsely blamed, a narrative that wrongly accused fans for decades. The truth, as we've explored in a previous video, was a systemic failure, not the fault of those in the stands. To understand the full story and honor the 97, I urge you to watch our in-depth documentary on Hillsborough, linked on screen now.